99 would have been proud. Here we are, hello fellow Clone Wars watchers. We are back with another episode review of Unfinished Business. This is episode 4 of season 7 of the Clone Wars. We're just cruising on through. We complete our Bad Batch arc with this. And again, there is a few changes to what the original plan was supposed to be for the Bad Batch. But I like where they ended up taking this episode. I think one of the things that I've been a big fan of in this season of the Clone Wars so far is they kind of like veer you left with like trying to get you to expect that something's going to happen, and they kind of take you the other way, and then they meet somewhere in the middle in terms of expectations go. Like you kind of think when this whole episode starts that something bad is going to happen to, you know, the character they bring back. It does seem too soon. It does. But part of you's like, it's too soon, and the other part of you's like, but what's going to happen to them? And then you're like, something bad is going to happen to this team, and it's still probably going to be the case because we're not like fully finished, I guess, because in the end we're left with that warm optimism, but you also know that the end is coming because it's Clone Wars and they can't make you too happy and leave you too secure for too long. That would just be criminal. And you know, in this point in the saga, at this point in this whole sum of episodes, I'm like pretty attached to the Bad Batch. Like it happened seemingly overnight by the way that they were able to draw us all together to them. One of the things that I think that was very important was finding a piece in canon for this character that they brought back. I thought that was the way that they did that, just starting off right now, how the episode ended. I thought that was good. I thought that was the right decision to make. I mean, it wasn't necessarily an easy one, I think, for Rex, but it was very fitting. And like I said, 99 would be so proud that this motley crew of clones are all just going to be chilling together. Now, what the future means for them is another thing, but it's a heartwarming moment in the end. And, you know, like, you spend the whole episode doubting this character and doubting their allegiance, and everybody else does too. Except for, ironically, Mace Windu. Mace Windu, who doesn't trust Anakin for as far as he could throw him, which is probably pretty far, given how Mace Windu just goes total ham on all these droids. He trusts this new guy pretty much. He's like, yeah, why not? And I'm like, who is this guy? But Mace Windu has one of the funniest scenes in maybe all of Star Wars in this episode. Like, I literally cackled. It was so funny. He just, like, bursts... it's not even a spoiler, but he just, like, bursts down and he, like, tries to reason with these droids as if that's possible. And everyone's kind of like, what's happening? And Mace is like, I'm just gonna try. I don't feel like doing this. And we're like, yeah. And I'm like, you know what? That's a mood. You can, but you're not feeling like it. It reminds me of that, scene in the old Clone Wars where he just totally goes through all those clones and you're like, is that, or he goes through all those droids, I'm sorry, and you're just like, is that possible? Well, it is, because in this episode they definitely showcase that. And basically what happens is they're trying to defuse a bomb, and the new character has to use his resources. Based on episode 3, you're kind of uncertain how that's going to play out, because your allegiance and your questioning of this character, as well as everybody else. I think one of the things that I low-key wish they didn't do as much was that everybody is like, I don't know, and then except for Rex, who is like, no, I believe in him, and Mace Windu, strangely, is kind of having their doubts. And I think that it's just I just think it would kind of like maybe offset it a little bit, because I'm like, well, now they want us to think that he's bad. And he's not. And then it was like, but will he be in the future? There's so many different like shifting and moving pieces. I just thought that the way that they did it and the way that they ended this character arc was very neat and with a bow. It amazes me that we can start off with this show and have so many questions about previous arcs, and for them to bring in a totally new one and to just, you know, make it this nice, concise thing. And I'm happy with that, you know? Am I happier that we're getting Ahsoka Tano in the next episode, presumably based on that trailer that they dropped? I mean, I'm not trying to talk about another episode while I'm like excited about this one, but yeah, I'm totally stoked to have Ahsoka back, and I want to see her interact with the Bad Batch. I want to see all these things, but first we gotta find out what's been going on with Homegirl, because she has painted nails now, and that, you know, brings a lot of questions. I think that with the Bad Batch, it was like coming home. It was the right way to introduce Clone Wars Season 7. You know, we started with meeting them. They're all a little rough around the edges. Of course, they eventually warm up to the regs. The regs warm up to them. There's a little bit of infighting. We have that big reveal, you know, of so-and-so being alive. And then it's like, how do we get him out of here? And then it's like, oh God, this one's like, is he good? Is he bad? And then, you know, we end with a nice combination of the two worlds, of regular and of irregular. And I think with the Bad Batch, it's funny because the guy who goes to the Bad Batch, so-and-so, we'll say so-and-so, he used to be a regular, and now he's not. And it's just an interesting take on how somebody can go from being normal in the eyes of everybody else to being abnormal, you know, to not being considered part of the team. I did think it was a little rushed in terms of how quickly the Bad Batch trusted him, because they went from like being the main contenders of like, he's not right in the head, to like being like, yeah, he's good. So I don't know, I thought that was a little quick, but you know, everything in this show happens pretty fast. The action was good, the characterizations were great, we had some awesome character moments. Rex, I think a little piece of him was healed before everyone's going to betray him. What did you guys think of Unfinished Business? I thought they finished business very nicely. Excited for Ahsoka's return. I know all of you are too. I hope. I feel like if you watch the show, you have to like her at least a little bit. May the Force be with you guys. Have a great day.